Quick introduction to the 15 things that you need to go sport climbing. This is all the stuff you need to bring in my opinion. There's a lot of them. I'm gonna fire through them super quick, starting with quick draws. This is what you clip as you climb up the wall as temporary anchors until you get to the actual anchor, and some people build anchors with them. 2, carabiners. That's what these are. Lots of different shapes of carabiners, sizes, gates, all that, but carabiners exist. You need those. 3, slings. That's what these things are. Basically a fixed loop, flat piece of material. Usually they come in 60 centimeter, 120, 180, 240 in nylon, Dyneema, and a couple other different types of materials. Very helpful for building anchors in climbing and anchoring yourself into the wall. 4, cordlet is this stuff. Not everyone takes this. I definitely take this. I take about 5.5 meters of 6mm cordlet. It has helped me out in a lot of sticky situations. Very durable, not fixed in a loop, so I can create a loop if I want to, or I can use it as one strand. Boom, cordlet. I bet some people aren't gonna like that one, but I don't care. Number 5, rope. Obviously that's important. Number 7, helmets. I don't need to explain that one. You probably know what a helmet is. Prevents you from getting your head smashed in by a rock and scraped when you bump your head on things. Climbing shoes. Climbing shoes are actually kind of optional too. There's some people out there who just don't have climbing shoes. When I first started climbing outside, I didn't have climbing shoes, so I just wore my old Nike sneakers. There's a lot of people who did a lot of super cool mountaineering stuff in leather boots. So threw them on the list because I always take them. Climbing pack. I'm just gonna call this a backpack. Boom, got a climbing pack. If it's in your budget to buy a climbing specific pack, that's cool. When I first started, I didn't have a climbing specific pack, but you need a backpack to get your stuff from your car to the crag. Med kit, that's what this is. If you break your leg or foot or get a bad gash and you're out in the middle of the wilderness, having some way to clean that wound, wrap it up, stabilize an injury is very helpful. Even if you have to get like a basic med kit from REI or wherever your outdoor store is, they have like little basic ones. Even if you don't know what you're doing, buy one of those, they're 20 bucks. And if someone's bleeding or really messed up, you can usually patch them up a little bit with that. Bam. Headlamp. You should definitely have a headlamp because sometimes you just get stuck at the crag and it gets dark and you have to walk back, and usually to access the base of climbs, depending where you're climbing, there's some stuff you have to step over and it's not easy terrain. Also, if there's an emergency situation and you don't have light and you gotta keep your buddy warm and safe, you're sitting there with your phone, bring a headlamp, please. If you're climbing with me, it'd be cool if you bring a headlamp. Comms, short form for communication. Depending where you're climbing, you'll have access to cell service so you can make calls with a cell phone. That does rely on you having a charged cell phone. Or if you're going into dead zones or areas where you will not have service, it's a very good idea to have some kind of sat phone or SOS device in case stuff hits the fan. You can at least send a signal out for help. Number 12, layers, clothing. Make sure you're prepared to be outside in the environment you're in. When I'm in Thailand, I'm wearing a thin t-shirt. If I'm in the Canadian BC wilderness and a 1-hour approach, I got a puffy, I got a rain jacket, a lot of equipment to keep me warm. I'm probably gonna be out there till dusk, and if the sun starts setting, the wind comes in and it starts getting rainy, and there's an emergency situation, I need to keep myself warm to help out my friend and be prepared for any moment. So obviously the emergency side of it, but there's also just the comfort side. If you're sitting down belaying and not moving, or you're just waiting for your buddies to climb, it's really great to be warm so that you're prepared to climb next and can just enjoy the day. Fuel. Fuel for me is food and water. If you want to climb hard, you got to have fuel in your system. Hydration is essential. It's very important. Bring the water. Sweet. Number 14. In my opinion, you should have the skills and the equipment to rappel. At the very least, your buddy should have it. That, you know, if you get in a scenario, they can help you out. This is all the stuff you need to bring, in my opinion. 15 is all the optional stuff. Stick clip. Helps you in a few ways, but the most common use of it is clipping the first bolt. If you fall getting to the first bolt, you don't fall all the way to the ground. There's other uses for it. That's the most common. Belay glasses are mostly just a fashion statement above all else. They allow you to see what's above you without bending your neck back. So this definitely saves your neck. Like when I'm going on long climbing trips or having long days or multiple days in a row, I try and use belay glasses. That way my neck doesn't get messed up. I've also met a physiotherapist who said long-time climbers usually have messed up necks from hanging back all the time. Also, really hard to get hit in the face with rocks while you're using these belay glasses. Not really common in advanced types of climbing like mountaineering and big multi-pitches, but single pitch climbing, I didn't have them for a while and now I do, and I like it. What else do we got here? Approach shoes. Approach in rock climbing means how you get to the climb. So sometimes you park your car and you walk on a nice path and then you're at the climb. But but sometimes you have to scramble over rocks to get to the climb. In those scenarios, you may want some sturdier shoes that are actually made for scrambling over rocks. They're usually more rugged shoes that are firm and maybe have a rand or a rubber around the toe so that you can kind of jam it into places. Sometimes I wear them, sometimes I don't. Depends where I'm going. Tape. Tape is always a good thing to have. Throw a roll of that in my bag. Chalk. If you're a climber already, you probably know about chalk. It just makes your hands less moist and lets you climb harder. Sun protection. Hats, sunglasses, sunscreen. It's not like going to the beach for a few hours. It's just a whole plethora of issues that you have if you're not protecting yourself from the sun. So I can't really stress that enough. Take it seriously. Protect yourself from the sun. Location beta. Just information on the area you're climbing in. So this could be guidebooks. This could be pictures of the area or maps. I've had sketched out maps from locals saying, go here, do this. Knife. A lot of people who've been climbing for a long time recommend you bring a knife to get you out of scenarios where maybe your hair gets stuck, something gets stuck in the device, something gets jammed up. I haven't had to use a knife yet in any emergency situation. Sometimes I've cut the end of a rope off at the crag because it's been a bit fuzzy. And I was like, oh, I just need this done now. But when all the experienced guides and people recommend you bring something, you bring it. The last optional item is a rope bag. This is my rope bag. Some of them come with slings. You can usually throw it over your shoulder so you can carry your rope separate from your backpack, or you can just stuff it in your backpack and it acts as a little bit of a blanket to protect your rope from the ground when you're actually climbing. Other than the sun protection, chalk, I don't think I brought any of this when I first started climbing. You start out with what you need and you slowly get into situations where you need other things that you don't have, and then you purchase them. This is everything. This is the quick basic run through. I'm gonna go into each one of these in depth. If you're in the school community right now, the plan is to have a module on each one of these pieces of gear and maybe one or two on the optional stuff. That way you have all the information and everything that's in my head can be transferred to you. Stoked you're here, stoked to teach climbing, and just stoked to share what I know, because I don't know everything, but I would have loved to have someone who had been climbing for 8 years film these videos when I first started, so here I am, filming them for you. Peace.